on, let's go, boy!
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back with another movie review, talking about another video game movie, Uncharted.
I will say really quick, this is movie number 2 or 3 that got it right.
Yeah. I don't know, it's strange. Like we've had Mortal Kombat came out last year.
Mhm.
That was all right. Like I said, in the grand scheme of things, it was all right.
Yeah, that was literally a hey, this is our introduction. This is like all Mortal Kombat was an introduction movie.
Yeah, it was like, okay, guys, this is the stage. We got the baseline of what we wanted, but in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't the worst video game movie. It wasn't the best. It was serviceable. It did its job.
Mhm.
Even the year before that, with Sonic and stuff, that was
That-
actually really surprisingly good, actually.
and I see, and the thing is, I called that. I said, "Watch, this is going to be a good movie."
Well, it was one of two things. It was either going to be a really good movie or it was going to be
Nah, I really have faith that this was going to be a good movie. Like, it took so long for a Sonic movie to come out, and after seeing that quick turnaround of the CG being fixed,
but see, even then, that's never a guarantee.
it's never a guarantee. But I just have faith. All right.
I mean, there's no guarantee because, like I said, I thought at worst it was going to be on some Alvin and the Chipmunk Smurf stuff where it's like, this is just annoying as shit at this point. And then you watch the movie and you're like, oh, so they just this works. All right, cool, gotcha.
Like I said, I had faith. I put faith in the company. But no, Uncharted. It is definitely another video game movie that they just got it right. I don't know what it is about the 2020s. For some reason, video game movies been knocking it out of the park lately.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing about the Uncharted movie. One, everybody was very much in line with like it has to be Nathan Fillion because everybody loves Nathan Fillion and he has that Nathan Drake vibe to him and stuff. And he did that short little movie and stuff.
Yeah, he did the YouTube movie. Then it was everybody was asking for either Nathan Fillion or give it to Nolan North. Give it to the man to do it.
So when they get the cast and it was like Mark Wahlberg is Sully and everybody's like, really? Mark Wahlberg?
We heard a very collective groan.
And then Tom Holland is Nathan Drake and everybody's like, ugh,
Yep.
So and I understood it because these things could get worse. And the movie had like 2 trailers that came out and stuff, and the trailers were fine. It wasn't nothing special about them and stuff. It looked like they clearly were throwing out the set pieces that reminded you of Uncharted to kind of get people in. And I mean, to a degree, it worked and stuff. Obviously, the set piece being the plane sequence and stuff, which it's clear that this movie was really they spent a lot of money on this sequence for it to work.
For that one particular sequence, as soon as I saw that, I said, "Yeah, they couldn't give you the full Uncharted 2 and 3 experience. This was more so 1 with a hint of 2 and 3."
I will say this: I feel that this movie felt more in line with Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy in terms of sticking straight to just a regular narrative of finding lost treasure. And the mystery building up to that, because my thing with Uncharted 1 through 3 was this: those 3 games always put some fucking weird mysticism shit. Like 1 jumped the shark with the fucking we find out the Spanish Inquisitor, spoilers for a damn near almost close to 10-year-old game, but like the Spanish Inquisitors transform into like Smeagol from Lord of the Rings, and you got to fight them and stuff. The second movie, it's these people in this lost city that wear monsters.
No, hold on. I know you're going to mention Shambhala. No, not that part, not that one. Before that, but like before you even get to that place, when you're in the ice, when you're in Tibet, and those big ass monsters come out, and you come to find out, oh wait a minute, it's these guys wearing masks.
But they were still transform people because of the item that was supposed to be like the fountain of youth type shit, basically, and stuff. And then the third one, well, granted, technically that was illusions and stuff, but still, fucking dudes with Ghost Rider heads and it was weird shit going down.
Yeah, the third one, The third one was the water and the
Very Illuminati
like
shit.
it was the water and the Rubal Holly.
Yeah. Very, very Illuminati-esque shit. Because that was basically who was Drake was facing, some mysterious Illuminati group that wanted to get more of this like illusion stuff to take over the world and stuff. So it's like, all right. So when they got to Uncharted 4, they got back to basics, and it's like, hey, we're just looking for this fucking treasure.
Oh, and that was my mistake. I said Shambhala. I meant Shangri-La.
Yeah,
That's
Shangri-La.
That's what
Shangri-La.
it was.
Yeah, before in Lost Legacy, it was, hey, we're looking for this treasure that could net us a lot of money, and the bad guys want to get rich off this and prevent the good guys from getting it. All right, cool, simple. And that's what this movie is. It's basically, they basically took little bits of the games that were like the explorer aspect, and they put it in there. Like, and this is what I'm saying. This is probably why I wasn't fond of the new Tomb Raider movie. They did everything that you do in the game. They do the mystery, the book, looking up certain things, and the puzzles and all that stuff. They do this in the movie, and it works.
Well, they do it in this movie, yes. And you and I were both like taking just taking little jabs at the movie, but it was all
Chapter
in
one.
It was all in fun. It was all in fun. We were like, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and
they pulled the Uncharted 2 at the beginning of this movie.
Yeah, they did.
They pulled the Uncharted 2 with the whole.
They Tarantino'd us. We're like, hold up, we're starting here. Of course, flashback after that point.
Here's how we got to this point, and I'm like, all right, fine.
The only thing missing from it was, hi, I'm Nathan Drake. You're probably wondering, how the hell did I get to this point?
I mean, that's how Uncharted 2 started off. It's like, what the fuck we doing on the train?
Hold up, that's how Sonic started.
Yeah.
Sonic started with that, but it was great though.
Yeah, they like this movie definitely takes a little bit of
It takes the elements of all the games.
Yeah, like a little bit of piece of a story from Uncharted 4, because the whole plot of this movie revolves around Nathan's brother, and they basically take a piece of the beginning of Uncharted 4 with the backstory with him and his brother breaking into the museum, and that's what kind of starts this whole journey with Nathan. Basically meeting up with Sully, and Sully's telling him about him and his brother looking for this treasure, and that jumpstarts this whole journey and stuff. You got the characters like Antonio Banderas, who really is basically his original character. He's not really anybody from the games per se.
No, he's nobody from the games, but you might as well say that he is definitely an Uncharted villain.
Oh yeah, I mean those Uncharted villains are very one-dimensional. Like, hey,
very one-dimensional.
Like, hey, this is what I want. I want to get rich.
Now, like one-dimensional, and I gotta ask you this, without spoiling. Is Antonio Banderas' character, is he in that echelon of memorable Uncharted villains?
He's more Eddie Raja.
That's totally fair. He's definitely Eddie Raja.
You remember him? He does his job, and that's it. It's like, all right,
he's no was it Lazarevic?
No, he's not Lazarevic.
To me, Lazarevic he was always like number one villain out of all Uncharted, and then everybody else.
And it's kind of interesting too, because Tati Gabrielle, if you remember her, she was in the Sabrina, the Misadventures of Sabrina. She plays Joe Braddock. Now, off rip, I sat there and I was like, is she supposed to be Nadine? Because she has
that look. She did have that look of her. So being
I'm assuming that they tabling Nadine for down the line, obviously. But I was like, so Joe is just basically Nadine. She has her own mercenary group. All right, cool. I mean, I'm fine with it. She was more memorable than Antonio Banderas' character, if you want to be real.
Well, it wasn't hard for that to happen. It really wasn't. From watching this movie, I'm sitting back going, all right, Antonio, I'm just waiting for you to show your hand at this point. Just show your hand, because, the moment he stepped out of that limo, I said, oh, and here's our villain of the movie.
Yeah. And
clear villain. I'm just waiting for him to show his hand, but then I'm like, oh, okay, we're going in this direction. Gotcha. Yeah. Typical I was like, typical Uncharted fashion again. This movie's taking all the elements from the video games, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. But like I said, they kept the cast very small and very simple and to the point. I would say what helps the movie more so than anything is that, one, the simplicity, but two, I actually like the fact that Sully and Nathan actually had camaraderie. Like Tom Holland and Marky Mark actually got like camaraderie. They have chemistry in the balance of Nathan and Sully, even though they don't have the visual aspect of it. They still have that Sully Nathan back and forth banter.
They don't have that. Well, they don't have that visual with reason.
Yeah.
We'll say with reason.
Yeah, with the reason and stuff, but the camaraderie of their whole father-son antics is still intact, basically. Yep. So it works.
One character I was surprised. I was surprised watching it, but then by the time I got to the end of the movie, I said, "Oh, it makes sense now." There was a character I was expecting to see in this movie, but I'm kind of glad that character didn't show up in the movie.
Well, I mean, that's Chloe. Well,
not Chloe. I don't want to spoil, but let's just say it's a character that you would have expected to be in this movie does not appear in this movie, and I'm fine with it because let's be real, PlayStation Productions and like Sony, Paramount, I believe this is building up into a series of movies.
Yeah, I mean, it
has potential to be a series of movies.
I mean, yeah, definitely and stuff. I think they definitely left it open because, like I said, I think you needed this movie to establish Chloe, Nathan, and Sully's history, because that was one of the things when you jump into, was it Uncharted 2 when you see Chloe?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, when she jumps in, there's clearly a history between Chloe and Nathan up to that point. So, like, you're right in the fact that they clearly want to make this a franchise, and trust me, they can do like 4 or 5 movies off this franchise easily, like no issues.
To be honest, they could take the number of stories that they probably had crafted for the previous video games that didn't end up being used at all. They were just left on the cutting room floor. They could take bits and pieces of that and make them into a series of movies.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if they made like a sequel movie. If the next movie that comes out will be based on the PS Vita game.
Yeah, was it Golden something or whatever?
Was it Golden Abyss or whatever?
Yeah, which I never played and stuff.
I played that. It was a good game.
I mean, what character showed up in Golden Abyss? Yeah, Golden Abyss.
In Golden Abyss, that one really was. It was more so Nate. It was Nate. Sully. If I'm not mistaken, Sully appeared in the game. It's been so long since I played that game, but I did enjoy playing it. But like, none of the regulars had super major roles. Like, everybody was original.
Oh, okay. Because I heard it was like basically a prequel to. It takes place before Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, basically.
Oh, so this. Damn, I completely forgot about that. I didn't even realize it was a prequel to the first game.
I mean, the way I've seen like certain gameplays and stuff and story stuff, they say it takes place prior to Uncharted Drake's Fortune, but at the same time, it's like you would never know because it just feels like a side story.
It definitely feels like a side story given the limitations of the Vita.
Yeah, so I mean, it still looked pretty good for a Vita game, but
it looks good. But they had to condense that story just to fit on that not the UMD, but the freaking M2.
Yeah, the M2. I mean, but for this movie, I'm glad they didn't do just a copy and paste job, because in my head I was like, well, they can just copy paste Uncharted 1 and they'd be good to go.
Oh, it could have really went the route of Tomb Raider of doing copy paste.
I mean, and it probably would have worked, but I'm glad they didn't, because I was expecting like, okay, when's the shoe going to drop? They're going to drop some bullshit where it's like monsters or some shit. And I'm like, oh,
you were expecting that?
Oh, they didn't do it.
I wasn't expecting them to do to go off into the deep end of craziness like they do in the video games. What I was expecting.
Hey, I'm just saying, I had to put that out there at the top of this review, because that's the thing.
And you're totally right to feel that way. Honestly, what I was expecting was like more, I would say more of the crazy high octane action that takes place in the video games to be in this movie. And I don't know if it was just for budget reasons or they didn't want to shoot their load for the first movie to do that. But I'm glad
they did just enough.
Yeah, they did just enough. And I'm glad they worked in one super classic moment from the video games into this movie. I'm like, wow, seeing it on the big screen is just as good as it is in the game.
I would probably say that moment with the plane is more realistic than the one in Uncharted 3.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, like that nigga fucking landing in the desert. I'm like, really?
Well, they were flying over it.
I know, but it was just like, you could have just went kerplat.
That's true. That is very true.
Versus this movie, this ain't really a spoiler. You can watch it in the movie. Clearly, they're over a plane of water, so it's like, all right, so it won't be that bad.
You're still gonna die, man. You're falling from that.
I know,
high.
but it's still that. Trust me, it's still. I think the way that they filmed that whole sequence is actually pretty good. The trailers didn't really give you that idea it was going to be that spectacle, but it's like, oh, okay, cool. I like this. They really worked that moment from the game into it, and I think that they are able to. If they do more of these movies, I think they have a lot of wiggle room to still take pieces of what worked in the game and still make their own thing.
Yeah,
and it won't like make people be like betrayal of the. Because you really can't, to be honest with you, you can make a very simple movie, which is what this movie is, and it won't make you feel as though they betrayed Uncharted. And it's like the Sonic movie. It's like, well, if you get the baseline of what makes Sonic, you're fine. It's the same thing here. They got the baseline of what we want Nathan and Sully's antics to be, and by the end, you get what you want. That's not really a spoiler and stuff. It's
an introduction. It's an introduction movie. It's the first movie of its kind. It knows its lore and history. It's going to take elements from the game. Like they're going to take elements that made that game popular in the first place and try to work them into the movie, but make it make sense.
Yeah, I think that was what everybody's worry was. It was like, all right, what are they going to do to fuck this up?
Yeah,
because you can always fuck up a simple idea, and it's like, how did you botch this up? Like
you could do that, and you could also do you could do something like really stupid and be like, hey, he lands in the ocean, and the very next scene, we're on the longest running train in history.
Yeah,
for no reason they could do that. So instead of it just being, instead of the movie pulling a Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City where, hey, remember this from the game, remember this from the game, remember this from the game, they could have done that. And I'm very, very happy they didn't do any of that.
Which we need to talk about that movie at some point.
We do.
We do.
We really
that,
do. You want to talk about amazing execution? Let's take it back a step. Let's have a talk.
Like if the Mila Jovovich movies, real quick, if the Mila Jovovich movies is one end of the spectrum of like what the fuck, Welcome to Raccoon City is on the opposite end of the spectrum of what the fuck. Like you had it, we were this close to greatness, and you just.
It's like, here's the ball. Just hold it. All you have to do is hold. All you gotta do is hold it. Don't move. Don't do anything. Just hold it. You got everything you need. And what do? Butterfingers.
Like, because that came out December or January?
December. It came out last year, if I'm not mistaken. Like at the end of last year. Either last year or at the beginning of this year.
Either was way to go from that, and it's like, okay, thank God we got Uncharted. I want to see more of these movies.
Yeah,
I really want to see more of these movies because it seems like Ruben Fleischer and them have a baseline of what makes these things work. And I know some people are going to be like, "Oh, the bad guys." I'm like, no. If you play Uncharted, other than like you said, Lazarevich, and maybe the Illuminati group from 3, the bad guys are always going to be we want the riches and stuff, and that's it. And that's all you really need. You don't,
basically, the bad guys are just in every Uncharted movie is always the same thing, except for Lazarevich. Every villain from those games is always someone who if you have enough money to afford a whole ass army,
paramilitary
groups, why do you need this treasure? You're already wealthy. What more could you possibly want? But again, they're super greedy. Anybody with money and power, what more would they want? More money and power.
Well, I will say this though. What's his face? Asav. He's another one that was actually really good in Lost Legacy. I actually liked him because he was like Lazarevich, where he had his own military group, but it was more so I need this treasure to continue funding my stuff, but at the same time, I just wanted this is going to be something that's going to give me more power into this country that I'm leading.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, cool. I can dig that. That's and what made him dope was also just like Lazarevich. Oh, he can handle his own hand to hand. Like you ain't fucking with him.
Right.
So those are always good villains. That's like, all right, they're 3-dimensional. They got more to them than just mustache twirling villain.
Mustached.
money and stuff. Visually, the movie is great.
Shot very well.
Even in the dark spots, it's bright.
Mhm.
It's well lit and stuff. Cause that was my worry. Cause I was like, how are they gonna shoot them in the dark? And it's like, oh, okay, cool. It's actually lit up. It's not just pitch black, and I can barely see what's making out and stuff. The action works. You can see all the fight scenes. There's no jump cuts.
Yeah.
Which again, I was fearing that because I was like, how is these? Okay, it's not jump cutting. We're actually seeing punches getting thrown. We're seeing people swinging off ships. All right, cool.
You're also seeing in my head, I'm seeing freaking PlayStation trophies pop up. It was like one in particular, like there was one moment in particular where in my head I just saw gling, you found the strange relic.
Well, the one that got me was when Drake is fighting the Scottish guy, and it reminded me of was it Uncharted 2?
Uncharted, no, it's 3. It's
three when they went to the bar.
Guys.
Yeah, when they're in the bar and Drake is all like, oh, that's a big guy, and then just start fighting. I was like, all right, that's some Uncharted shit right there.
Mm-hmm. Anytime where Nathan has to struggle against a big guy, because I do remember in the second one, it was again the longest train ride in history. That guy was technically a boss character. He was sort of a boss character. I mean, he had the armor, and he's coming to shoot the shotgun. Off. You had to shoot the pieces off of him. You're throwing you're chucking grenades at him. This guy would not go down, no matter how many times you shot him in vital places. He would not go down.
Yeah, you had to there's a lot of shenanigans in that game. That's all I'll say.
Yep.
But it's fun. Like I said, the set pieces and that. Like I think you're right in that. I think they want to kind of save it for multiple movies. And like I said, I think this movie will probably do pretty good. Apparently, it had like $120 million budget, and it made like already 20 million overseas right now and stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I would definitely check out this movie. You will definitely like it. And yeah, it's a simple movie. Like I said, there's really nothing to say.
No, I will say this. I was surprised. Well, not surprised. I was impressed with both Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg playing these two iconic characters.
Yeah. I think it's like I said, look aside. It's like no, they got the nature of what you wanted out of those characters.
It's like you guys are off. You guys are off on this path. Let's see where this path goes.
Yeah, they got tons of leeway to do whatever they want, and as long as they keep the essence of the game intact, they're fine. I mean, I feel like if you don't expect the world of this type of movie, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. And again, just take stories. Just take stories that you guys originally had planned for the video games that didn't work out the way you wanted to, and you just left them on the cutting room floor and turn them into movies.
Yeah, because I mean, as much as we've seen these type of films before with Indiana Jones and other type of films, those movies are always fun because you're just there for the adventure and the intrigue and the mysteries and stuff, and then seeing where it goes. So I mean, you can't really look that up.
But I will ask this question: how many movies do you think it'll take before we start seeing the shoe dropping from the video games? You think we're going to see it in the next movie?
Probably in the next movie, they might do some stuff like the train sequence and stuff. Or now, in terms of like
the
bizarre stuff,
bizarre shit, like the freaking like we're talking Crystal Skull shit.
I'm gonna say the third movie. I will say the third. If it gets to movie number 3, that's when they're gonna really start pulling in some crazy, weird, mystical shit,
Yeah.
Because that shit in Uncharted 1 still to this day stands as like, because the game up to that point, it's like, all right, this is interesting. The lost treasure. All right, cool. All of a sudden, I'm like, what's going on here? This is a little creepy. What? This is monsters? Where did this come from?
And then Uncharted 2, same thing. Everything seems good until we get to Tibet.
I was like, Tibet got a bit weird.
I'm like, at first I was like, yo, we got Yetis coming after us. Then we come to find out, wait a minute, these Yetis are just guys in masks. And then you get to the end of the game. Hold up, a whole other world in the inside of Shangri-La. I'm like, wow, fam. Wow.
Yeah.
Uncharted.
Yeah.
Great game. And good, and definitely a good movie.
Yeah.
So with this, seeing PlayStation Productions pop up at the beginning, gotta ask, hey, PlayStation, so what's happening with that God of War movie?
Apparently, this might be the thing that puts them puts them on the record of doing stuff. Because I think apparently they have this, The Last of Us TV show that's coming out on HBO. Apparently, supposedly, they're doing a Ghost of Tsushima movie.
That'd be good.
And
I'd like to see how that plays out.
yeah, and Twisted Metal as a TV series.
Okay.
So I'll be honest with you, their next project, which actually drops this year, is going to be Last of Us, which I have no doubt in my mind that's actually going to probably be a pretty good TV show.
I hope so. Just keep one particular person away from that, and we should be good.
Well, it's different writers, obviously. So, but I feel they're going to pull a Walking Dead with this and do something different from the game, which I think is probably for the best. Because I think real quick with Walking Dead, I think what made that show great was that they deviated away from the books. And it was like they deviated, but they still kind of stayed in line with what the books were going for, more or less.
No, the way Walking Dead works is like this. This is the book. Like, this is the path of the book. And where they start is here. We're going in the direction of the comics, then go away, then come back, and go away, and come back.
Yeah, so it's like you're weaving in
and out of the actual books.
Yeah, because you're getting the baseline of what the book is going for, so the TV show is going to probably get to that trajectory like the comic did in terms of its ending, more or less, probably. So I feel with Last of Us, they're probably going to get the same way. It's just going to probably be better written, and since it's a TV show, they can expand on certain aspects and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But like I said, PlayStation Productions, they got some. I mean, Uncharted is definitely a good thing. They can really, wet their teeth on and stuff and go from there. So,
So yeah, go see Uncharted.
Yeah, definitely go check it out. So we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.